Ladies and gentlemen, it is me. I am Stephen Michael James, your favorite comedian from Seattle, and this is my podcast, Comedy Simp. Thanks for joining me for a very special holiday episode. It's the end of the year, guys, and for the next hour, join me as I sip my hot buttered rum and we reminisce over the last year and everything that has gone down on Comedy Simp.
Comedy Simp.
Hey guys, it's me, Stephen Michael James. Thanks for joining me here on Comedy Simp. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know, it helps me out. It helps the channel out. Been getting a lot of subscribers lately. And if you want to follow me, that is Stephen MJ Comedy on YouTube and Instagram and at Stephen Michael James on TikTok. So, guys, what's up? We're here. We're here. We finally made it. I can't believe it. It is the evening. It's been a while. Thanks everybody for the last episode, the highest rated episode of this podcast, which if you look at the numbers, you know, some of you guys, you podcast aficionados, it means nothing, but to me, it means a lot. So everybody for tuning in, you guys are awesome. I think there was a reason why it actually made, it had more views than normal. You know, we were on one of the hot topics. We were on a trend. It was Skankfest. Skankfest had just happened. I knew what I was doing, guys. I knew what the algorithm wanted. I put Skankfest in the title, and the rest is history. But yeah, it's been a few weeks since I saw Rob here, and I tried to do a few podcasts since then, but I've ran into a few issues. You know, most notably, a few weeks ago, let's just get into it, man. Get into it. A few weeks ago, I went down to Tacoma Comedy Club. The 6th and Proctor location, you know, one of my favorite places, one of the best rooms, probably the best room in the Northwest, and went down there to go see the live special recording of one Greg Beachler. Greg is a comedian from the Northwest here. He also has a podcast called Roastbusters with another comic named Nar and Van. Shout out. Narin was on the podcast on Comedy Simp, and Greg will be on a future episode, but I really wanted to go for a few reasons. You know, first of all, I haven't been doing comedy, obviously. I got some stuff at home, I'll get into that too. You know, we're at the end of the year, might as well give everybody an update on what's happening. But, so I wanted to go down to Tacoma Comedy Club to see this special. I wanted to support the guy, first of all. I don't know him very well. I've only met him like once. But his podcast is great. I like to support that. And then also just to see a special, like a live special recording, see how that whole deal goes, the whole shebang with the lights, the cameras, the ticketed, the people getting in for free, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, it's just good to see a great show with great comics. So this was a few weeks ago, you know, like the first week of December on a Sunday. And I had planned to do a podcast with some other guys. Now, I don't know what it is, people, but I have this issue with bad luck, especially when it comes to podcasts. I think at least 2 or 3 times I've tried to do a podcast with this guy, Logan, comedian Logan Cantrell. And for whatever reason, things happen. One time we were going to do it at Whiskey Mile, and then the power went out. And then there was, I think, another time we wanted to do something, and then it just wasn't going to work out. And then this time, I was going to go down there and go meet up with another comic, James Fitz. He lives right around the corner. He was actually working that night at 6 and Proctor. and Willie Dean, another guy who lives over there. So it's a whole comic frat house. I didn't realize that they all live together, but apparently they do. So the plan was originally I was going to go down there, record a podcast with the boys, the Tacoma guys, and then go to the show, support the show, come home. But pretty much the day of, James Fitz hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, I got to work. You want to do the podcast afterwards?" And I was like, yeah, it wasn't my first choice because I live so far, but I was like, hey, I'll do what I can do. Take what I can get. So made the plan. Oh, this is so good. Hot buttered rum, guys. Don't sleep on it. A warm alcoholic beverage in the Pacific Northwest during the wintertime. It's one of the few pleasures that I get out of life these days. So good. And it's like that. It's not the big brand you get at Walmart. This is like the local, whatever the local company is here in Seattle that makes the hot buttered rum mix. That's what it is. And it's great. Hopefully my lips aren't smacking too much. So yeah, the plan was we were going to do the podcast and then go to the show. And then, he said he had to work. So ended up going down there a little bit later than planned. Traffic wasn't bad at all. It was a Sunday. I get to the venue, I see a few people I know. I see Narin. I see Mike Mazzotti, Joey Cruz, Alexa Hansen, Brandon White. A lot of people, a lot of cool people down there. A lot of great comics out there to support Greg. And the show was three dudes, hosted by Luke Severide, who saw previously a great comic. Saw him up here in Arlington, the heavy metal bald dude. The feature act was one Jay Markovitz, who also was supposed to be on this podcast. Here's the thing about this. So J.R. Berard, a comedian from Seattle, Linwood, Everett, wherever he is. He's a comic. He is putting on this weekly show here in Everett. And every week, new comics are coming in. And it's only about 20, 25 minutes from my house. So Jay was going to come over here, I think either before the show or after the show to do the podcast. But then he was like, nah. So it wasn't worth it to Jay. But I still love you, Jay, Luke did like 10 minutes or whatever, he started the show, did the announcements. Crowd in Six and Proctor was about, I'd say 80 to 85% full. It wasn't like packed, but it was pretty full. Definitely more than an open mic. So the echoes were loud. Had I was in the middle. So I was seated at some weird table. I guess it's not, I don't know why I said a weird table. This is alcohol and weed, my brain just goes into these weird places, but I was seated at a random table with two old people who were like on a date and then some guy by himself and then me, but I was right in the center, dead center, right next to the cameras, and we'll get to the cameras. And then in front of me was like a group of ladies in their like 40s, maybe. Business ladies having dinner and stuff. And so Luke, he did his set, 10 minutes. Didn't really do, I think he did a little bit of material, but he was just having fun and just freestyling. And that's something I definitely need to work on. But then Jay Marks comes out. And I love Jay Marks, man. Like I always... From the beginning, when I started, he's one of the first guys at Tony V's that I was a big fan of. I love his style, he's got balls. I remember he told has it been 10 minutes? I don't know if it's been 10 minutes yet, but some random guy was like heckling him at Tony V's, and he's like, well, you can go over to the bathroom and suck my dick. So I was like, dude, that guy is okay in my book. And let me tell you guys, Jay Marks, probably the best set I've ever seen this guy do. I don't know if it was 20 or 25 minutes, but A lot of the material I've seen before, and it just hit after hit, hit after hit after hit, like every single joke. Better than the last. He was just great with his expressions, his moving around on stage. He did at one point he did a thing where he took his glasses off, which I'd never seen him do before. And even that got a great pop. And then he does a fun joke with his phone and the phone light. And just, I can't say enough great things about Jay Marks. And I think that guy deserves to be, he needs to be, more booked more often. He needs to be a headliner. But, the thing that separates, I guess, comedians from headliners is that extra thing. You can't, I thought a lot about it lately, and I just don't feel like there's different schools of thought here, all right? And making it can mean so many different things. Now, I think anybody with enough drive and practice can be a working comedian, somebody who can get booked on local shows in your region and make money and maybe build a little fan base, sell t-shirts. There's a lot of people I know doing it. A lot of people that if they stepped out of this region wouldn't even get a chuckle, but they have built, it's a loyalty, because this is where they grew up and this is where their friends and family are. And maybe they were funny, maybe they are funny occasionally, but they're just not, the killers on stage. And then there are some that are just those really naturally gifted people that are just killing it. There's a guy out there right now named Tyreek Woods, and I don't know him, but he's winning all the competitions in Seattle and Tacoma. He's killing it out there. And I guess the guy's only been doing it for like 3 years. So everybody's got a different style and path. Other than that, I mean, like Jay killed it, man. I mean, he's such a great comedian. And now I remember what I was saying. I think that really the thing that separates great comedians from like the top people, the headliners, is that personality. You got to be willing to give yourself away to the public. You're not just giving them this little glimpse into you, like your jokes and yourself on stage, but I'm talking about like the guys that are going, and girls and non-binaries, the people that are going out there and doing the podcasts and the comedy sketches and using other avenues to get their comedy out there, either like sitting on a radio station and hosting radio, or being like a sports, parlaying into sports, doing like MMA or boxing or football. So everybody's got their own kind of path there. And I think it's just a shame, like unless Jay starts a podcast. I mean, he had a great podcast, actually. He had a podcast with a guy named Jack Slattery called The Rain City Jerks. And I love that, man. Those guys, it was a great podcast. It was audio only, but I loved listening to them kind of just talk about the scene. And just, I kind of carry that spirit on a little bit with my podcast. I mean, to me, it doesn't hold a candle to theirs, but this is what you get, people. They're not doing it anymore. But it would be cool to see Jay be able to, like, I don't know, get his personality out there more rather than just having the material, because he's a funny guy and just like a really interesting guy and well-traveled. And that's all of this to say that he killed it and he kicked ass. And then Greg Beachler, like Greg, obviously been doing it a long time, and you can tell he was very comfortable on stage. The only thing I noticed, and I'll just tell you guys, they took down all the dead comedian pictures off all the walls. They had really nice lighting. There's like 7 cameras going on. They had the light boxes with the grids on them. And the only thing that I noticed about Greg's set was he flubbed a line, like 1 or 2 lines in the very beginning. And I didn't know his material, but I could just tell, like, just from his body language and just the way he stumbled, that he had that little minute little detail. But other than that, the rest of it was just killer timing, very off the cuff, really great material, physical. He did this thing with like tennis or paddleball, like this whole physical thing, and it was just really great. And yeah, dude, I'm really excited to see what happens. I'm guessing it's probably just going to go on YouTube, but it would be cool, to see one of the people that I know get something out there to like, an Amazon or Netflix or whatever the next big thing is. But great show, man. Three people that have done a lot in comedy the last few years, and they've been killing it in the scene. And moving on to other places, and they both what do you say, a watermark? I don't know. It's definitely a level that I have to strive for now, to get better. And I've been sitting back, people, and I've been watching, and I've been just writing. No, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been writing a little bit here and there, but it's just like personal life. Personal life is just, I gotta focus on my family right now. There's some cancer in the family. There's some problems with my daughter and the school. And that takes a huge toll when you don't have people to help out. It's just me and my wife and her mom and my daughter. That's all the family that we have in this entire state. All right. Like, I have my brother and mom in Oregon. I have a lot of family in California. I have some family scattered, but that's it. Like all of my friends and the people I grew up with and my band, my bros, the guys that I really can count on night and day, they're in California. They're not here. So that's not to say I don't have great friends here. I do, but they're friends at a distance. They're comedy friends. I'd say the closest person that I have to an actual friend is Rob, and even then I haven't even talked to him in a couple weeks. So, and I like the relationship that me and Rob have, because it's not like, I don't know, for a lack of a better term, gay, like I don't care, like if he hasn't talked to me for a while, and it's nothing like that. I don't care. He doesn't care. It's just every once in a while, just text each other random, and it's cool. And it's like, I hate drama, and I hate friendships with drama, especially being a guy in late 30s, early 40s. Like, don't have time for it. I'm tired. I'm starting to get tired. Like, I got this problem with my thumb. I don't even know what happened. Just one day I woke up and now I'm having this extreme pain in my thumb. It's like right here at the base. I talked to my mom about it. She used to wear a brace. She told me maybe I should get a brace. I don't know if I sprained it. I'm looking up some weird, there's this weird disease that some people have where they actually have to get the tendon cut. So I don't know. It's weird. It's like, it's fine most of the time, but then other times I'll bend it a certain way and it just extreme pain that just starts throbbing. So my wife is like, you need to go to the doctor. And I'm like, no. I at least wait till January, which is why today we're going to talk about this year, 2025, because January of last year, let me tell you where I was, last year, I was very, very hopeful at the beginning of the year. There was a lot of things. I don't know if we found out that my daughter had autism yet. I don't know if we found that out this year or if that was end of 2024. But either way, that was pretty new. And in January of 2024, I had a hernia surgery scheduled. So I had one of those hernias in the groin area. I don't know if you guys know what a hernia is, but basically what happens is the muscles in your area, in my case, the abdomen, were weak, and the intestines were poking out. It's gross. It's really gross, and it's not healthy. And some of the stuff that I read about is it's like they can actually pinch the intestine, they can turn purple and have to get cut off. Just extreme craziness. Like you don't want a hernia. And then every time you cough, it kind of hurts down there. So I'm holding my crotch every time I cough. And of course I got bad allergies, so I'm sneezing all the time. It's not good, guys. So I had this hernia scheduled And I've kind of talked about it before, but basically what happened was after I had the surgery, they didn't want to cover it because they said I was not in network, even though it was in the area. It was in the exact same city that I got it pre-approved, and I had the same insurance, but it was a different plan on the same insurance company, and that happened to not be in the same network for that hospital for that particular procedure. And it was just a lot of red tape, and they wanted to charge me $36,000 after this little tiny surgery. So yeah, that's why I'm waiting until this next year, because I screwed my insurance up so bad. Basically, I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention during the open enrollment at my work, and I selected the wrong thing. And then I had selected to cover my wife and myself. So literally for the last, the last year, I've been getting like $700 taken out every month. $700, like just for medical insurance, because I picked the wrong one and I covered my spouse as well as myself. And yeah, it's been a nightmare. I've been broke the entire year. I mean, the paychecks that I've been taking home have been terrible. And that was like, yeah, that was January. I did get in a few gigs though at the beginning of 2025. I got to do the New Year's New Jokes. It was like one of those things where they get 50 comics out there and they all perform 90 seconds. And it was a really cool thing to be included as part of. And they reached out to me this year, and I sent my stuff in, and I haven't heard anything. So I just don't think it's going to happen this year, guys, which at this point is like, whatever, I figured it out. I figured out the secret to getting booked, and that is just showing up. It doesn't matter how good you are, because, well, that's not true. That is not true. But in a way it is. It's kind of like if you just keep going to the same place every week, eventually they're going to be like, oh yeah, come do the show here. The reason I say that is because when I was on the New Year's New Jokes last year, is because I was doing the open mics like every month. So I've taken a break because I got this family trauma to deal with. But yeah, no, it was really cool. It was really fun. I tried out something new, and then most of the comics that I saw were actually doing old stuff. They weren't even trying out new stuff. So it wasn't even the new jokes that it was supposed to be, but it was cool. There's this really great group photo. I did Whiskey Mile pretty much every week. My dad flew in to hang out with us for a few days. This was like shortly after Christmas, so he didn't visit for Christmas last year, but he came in January, and he flew in to kind of hang out while I got my surgery. And we went to Flight Path on the way back from the airport, and he got to see me perform. Not a great set at Flight Path, and I had only went back there one more time, like literally the entire year. But had my surgery, and then I went to the back Booth Bullies show. And yeah, it was great, man. That very first Bullies show, the way it started out as back Booth Bullies, and now it's back Booth Bully. It's just one bully now. And Mason A is pretty much running that thing like his own Kill Tony every Monday. Tacoma Comedy Club. They got the back Booth Bully show. A lot of fun, crazy, cool things. But at that time, it was three guys, Logan, Mason, and then just so many just fun, cool games and concepts. Saw Jojo Blacko get smacked on the ass by some woman in a bikini. I saw people set themselves on fire. Saw some borderline wink, wink nudity. And it was just a wild show, and I got to be part of it a couple more times, later on. I also went to Draft Choice I barely remember that. I think, Sherry Hardman put that one on. I think she just sent the email out, and I feel like maybe Laura Lyons was supposed to be there and then never showed up. I don't know if I had anything to do with that, but oh well. So yeah, I had my surgery. It took me a while to recover. And then in February, I did go to Tacoma Comedy Club a couple times, with their open mic. I can't remember if there was anything even significant about it. Just fun, fun. Tacoma's great. It's a grind. It's a grind when you live an hour and a half, 2 hours away. Lucky Strike. Okay, yeah, I remember going to Lucky Strike too. Another JoJo was at that one too. Lucky Strike I didn't really enjoy that one because it's at a bowling alley. It's just very loud. There wasn't that many people there. The stage was really cool, and it had like almost like a 70s vibe to it. The bowling alley bars are great, man. They're really cool. I love the vibe. It's just for comedy, they needed to crank that volume so loud to get anybody to hear. Otherwise, what's the point? But it was an experience. I did comedy in a bowling alley. So, March, Whiskey Mile a few more times, club comedy. And then, yeah, March was a really crappy month because had to put my dog down. And my dog Phoenix, English Bulldog, we got her in 2014 and she lived until 2025. And best 11 years ever, man. I don't think it's ever it'll never compare. The dog caused me so much pain and so much stress from the very beginning. My wife and I were not good trainers. We're not good dog trainers. We're not good parents. I mean, she's a good parent, but training, we're not good at training, I would say. And I would say not good dog parents. That's fair to say. Phoenix would chew up like my books. Like I had all these rock and roll books at the time, like the Nikki Sixx Heroin Diaries or like an REM picture book. And she would chew those up, pee all over the place. She didn't really poop inside that often, but it would happen occasionally. But she would get really shy. When we first had her, we were in an apartment complex, so. I mean, like literally you'd take her out in the middle of the night and then some random dude would be walking by with a cigarette and she would just stop and you'd have to just walk her around again and again. And, yeah, man, I mean, so many memories. I mean, she rolled over on a dead fish at a trail one time. She got sprayed by a skunk on early Thanksgiving morning. She ate a grape. I had to call poison control, make her drink hydrogen peroxide and try to get her to throw up. She had surgeries, a lot of surgeries that were very expensive that any other couple probably would have gave up on her. But she had a very full life. And the last, year was just not the best. She started to develop a cancer in her rear end, and it made it hard for her to go to the bathroom, and she was just really old and tired. And after I had to do that with another dog. It wasn't my dog, but there was kind of a family dog that passed away a couple of years prior, and I had to be the guy, the one to take the dog to the vet and do the deed. And after this one, I was just like, man, I need to take a break from comedy. I hadn't taken a break for about a year. So I was like, I took a break for like 2 months or so. And during that time, I did a couple podcasts and, it was fun. It was just, I don't know. I think for me, I'm starting to learn that for me, I cannot do just the grind and feel productive, I liken it to like a band that's always on tour and then expected to write new songs while they're still on tour. Now, I know that's a very gross over-exaggeration on what my comedy is, but personally, I feel like if I'm just too busy doing open mics, I'm not writing enough, I'm not experiencing enough. Like, I think I get these creative spurts, and then I have these other ones where I just don't have anything. And I'm starting to accept that. And that was one of those times I just was like, I just need to write some new stuff. I'm just not really happy. And it's when I wrote some of my best material, at least for the next few months. I wrote some really great material. I hung out, pretty much didn't do anything through March until the end of April. And I hit Tony V's at the very end of April. And then that was around that time that everybody was doing the AI action figures. Remember that? And, what's going on? I think my kid is upstairs, like, causing some absolute mayhem. Let's see. It is 10:20. 10:20 on a school night, guys. After this podcast, we're going to be getting... No, I'm just kidding. No, after this podcast, I'm probably going to be like, I'm going to be talked to and be like, you can't do a podcast again because I can't handle her by myself. That's what's going to happen for real. But the AI action figure trend, I figured out like basically the concept of it, because everybody was just doing the basic, making their figure. I took the idea of whatever the code was and started applying that to all this other stuff. And I was making cartoons and making posters, anime, comic books. I mean, there's so much stuff that you can do with AI. It's insane. And now fast forward to when Sora was released just a couple of months ago. Now everybody is just making the most insane videos. And when I was okay with putting my picture into ChatGPT for a poster, I don't feel okay with putting my face into Sora for a video, because those AI videos, man, they freak me out. They freak me out with how realistic they are. I mean, some of the ones that I did have like Mark Cuban and Jake Paul and my friend Casey or my friend Robbie. And so I took the cartoon from ChatGPT and I made some videos out of it, but I am not going to make AI videos out of myself. I'm just too paranoid. But yeah, that's April. That's what signified April for me, was just doing all the AI stuff because I was not doing comedy. But in May, I hit it hard, man. In May, I did Tacoma Comedy Club twice, Whiskey Mile. Every week of May, I featured at Whiskey Mile, did a 10-minute set there. I had an amazing set at the Kiwi and Kangaroo in Ballard that when I put that video on Reddit, it got like 17,000 views and no dislikes. So it was fun, man. Great. Chris Talbot put that thing on. Comedy Battle Royale. I don't even care about the competition. That was my best set I've ever had in Seattle. And it has never been, it's never been as good since. The Red Wagon Rescue. That was a show at the Whiskey Mile that my friend Brian Fukuda put on, and he collaborated with some local animal charity, and we had some comics out and did some comedy, and Whiskey Mile was full. A lot of people in there, probably like 50 to 70 people, and my set was not great. I was on such a roll. I was on such a high. I felt like I could do no wrong. And then finally I go to Whiskey Mile, I do the show, and just not great. And then also I was trying to show videos of my dog who I just put down, because, it's kind of like a dog tribute show. And I didn't have a dog. Everybody else brought their dog, but I had to show like a video of my dog who was dead. And it was a cute gesture, but it did not go over well as I wanted it to. It was too delayed. And Oh well, it's in the books. And then there was the Club Comedy Pro audition. Now, let's talk about this pro audition for a minute. It was not a pro audition, actually. It was not an audition at all. It was okay. I was glad to be included in it. I went with Nick Cody, and Nick, I don't know if Nick was just very nervous or what, but he kept going down the street to drink, just have shots and beers and all that. And then he was pretty sloshed by the time he came back to do his set. And I know he burned the light a little bit. Love you, Nick. But it could just be nerves, it happens. I had a pretty decent set, but here's the thing. There was only like 7 people in the entire place. It was an audition night, and there just wasn't enough people to audition in front of. And by the end of it, he got the owner, Rick, gathered everybody around and gave us a nice talk and said, I just wanted to see where everybody was at, and this is not a pass or fail audition. This is just a where are you at right now audition. And gave us a lot of hints and tips and all that kind of stuff, but ultimately it didn't really lead into anywhere. He said, send me your available dates, and I'd send them for 2 months. And I was just like, let's just regroup there. Moving on to June, had a lot of shows, I wouldn't say shows, but I had some mics in June. Went to Flight Path, went to the George and Dragon, another Chris Talbot Battle Royale thing. Edison Square in Tacoma, Whiskey Mile a couple times. Tapped Out, the first and only Tapped Out I think I did in last year. Nick's shows are always fun. I don't know if his crowd loves me that much. But they're fun, and I'm glad to be included in them. And I love that taco truck next to Peace of Mind. So anytime I can get them tacos, I'm fine with it. And then Usi Irish Pub, that was a fun one. That was an open mic up in Bellingham, and I went up there to meet up with Alex Suarez from Canada, and he came down to feature at the mic, and we did a podcast. And it's my first time kind of sitting down with Alex for more than just a few minutes. I've seen him a few times at different mics, and it was great, man. It was good. I had a great set up there in Bellingham. I got to see all the other Bellingham comics and shoot the shit a little bit, have some fun. And we did the Alpha Male sketch in June as well. So if you haven't seen that, go to my Instagram at StephenMJ Comedy, and you'll see it at the very top, and it is the Alpha Male sketch. And, I had never seen an Alpha Male camp video before, so I was going into this thing blind, and now that I've seen them, I feel like we could do it better. But with that said, I feel like we made a really funny little 3-minute video. Rob's the Alpha Male coach. Me and Jake E.T. are following him, trying to be, alphas, and it's good stuff, man. A lot of fun editing and music and guns, and I'm looking forward to doing some more stuff with that. July, back to it again, Emerald City Comedy Club, North End on Pearl, Club Comedy, TCC, Old Stove Brewing. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's go back to that George and Dragon thing. The George and Dragon was not Comedy Battle Royale. That was on the mic, and that was a roast battle, and that was the worst roast battle that I've ever been part of. Also, the only roast battle I've ever been part of. I had to write roast jokes about 6 people less than 48 hours before the show. Didn't even know most of them, and we performed outside during the day with a few people at a beer garden pavilion. And I got eliminated first round, and I wrote all these jokes that I didn't even get to use, and I was very disappointed. So that was in June. That was the George and Dragon. And the Old Stove in July, that was the Chris Talbot Comedy Battle Royal. So All right. This whole thing in the summertime was leading up to a big show around my birthday. I was going to be doing a show for a headliner, somebody who has a big following online, somebody who performs in LA all the time. This woman, Kat C. My friend Keegan from Portland set it up, and it was going to be at the end of August. And so in August, I practiced my sets a lot. Like I said, the Beach Cat Brewing, that was fun. Another Bellingham outdoors, performed for a big crowd of random people. Had some young boys in front of me, teenage boys, and they loved it. And that was a great set. Had TCC a couple more times. The 907, which I reminded myself why I hate the 907. I did a show with Xavier Smith and the They're Just Jokes. So he's kind of moved on to this West Seattle venue, but at the time they were doing one in Seattle. It's kind of like a variety show. And that was great, man. It was at this place called Tasties. And he filmed a bunch of stuff, and I still haven't seen it. So I'm curious to see if we'll ever see that. And then Robbie Schrader, my friend Robbie, he did a special at the Shanghai Room, and I wanted to attend because, like I said, I wanted to see a comedy special. And Robbie was great, man. Robbie was really fun. He brought out the props, good vibes that and then Kat. And so the Cat C show, it was at 4:00 on a Saturday, Tacoma Comedy Club, downtown location. I believe it was like halfway sold out, and had a pretty decent lineup, besides Cat, you had me and Mike Heath, Mike Tony Heath, my boy. And then coming from Portland, you had Jesse Hooper and Keegan Bell, and can't remember if there was somebody else on that. I know Allison Fine was originally scheduled. She got kicked off. Not for any fault of her own, but just because they didn't have enough. There was not enough time to have all the comics. And it was a really fun show, great experience. My first time in a green room. I got to drink a White Claw for free from the green room. I mean, how cool is that? And Kat was really nice, but ultimately it was just another show. I in my head I built it up to be something way bigger than it actually was, and it was still great. I'm still very thankful, and that was after I did that show, I don't know, man. I felt part of me felt empty. I'd been working up to this goal, and this goal was I just want to open up for somebody who's like kind of a name. Now, granted, I never heard of Cat C, and I know most people don't know who she is, and she's, just kind of internet famous, but it's still something. But I still, after that, man, I don't know. I was really lost. And this was around the time, it coincides with school starting, because September, and right when school started, man, my daughter was having the worst troubles. I mean, she got suspended 3 or 4 times. The reason she got suspended is because she has autism. And the school has I have a really terrible school district. It's public school, all right? I'm not here to badmouth any school district because they're all bad. Every public school system is bad. I grew up in it. My friends grew up in it. My family grew up in it. I've been in California. I've been in Oregon. I've been in Washington. You show me a public school that's great, and I'll say, whoopee-doo, why don't you adapt that over to us, or send that over to us, because I don't believe it. This is a weird time, man, where when I was a kid, when people grew up, they wanted to help. They wanted to be part of a society that helped people. People wanted to grow up and be doctors, nurses, police officers, firefighters, astronauts. now they're like, no, screw that. I don't want any of that. So, shoot, where are we at here? So yeah, I know, man. It's special education. It's tough, and if you got a kid with problems, I suggest you have money, have a lot of money to throw at that problem because public school ain't gonna help. So it's definitely it's a struggle, and we've been in and out of it since the beginning of the year. And then, on top of that, we've got other stuff going on. So in September, I hit a few places. I hit Whiskey Mile a couple more times, Tony V's, Nate Jackson's. I did the Nate Jackson's open mic for the first time since they moved to their new location. Had a great set, had a great time. And then afterwards, Nate Jackson came on right after me. So that was really fun. Hopefully you saw a couple of my jokes. He probably doesn't remember me. I mean, who would, right? The final Shanghai room show, I was part of that. It was kind of cool. I hadn't been to the Shanghai room. I haven't performed at the Shanghai room for well over a year. Hadn't been there pretty much since they had banned Rob. But they had decided they're no longer going to do comedy. They wanted to do one kind of last hurrah. And they had a Saturday show and a Sunday show. And my friend Noah Rubin put me on it. And I performed a set, and it was fun. It was great. Had a lot of good times there at the Shanghai room. But I'm not going to miss it. It's not a great place for comedy. I had some good memories there, but so many memories of just nobody there, or people doing bad, or people feeling uncomfortable. So it's one of those chapters that I'm fine with being closed, I don't know if it was September or October, but at the same time, Whiskey Mile stopped as well. I don't want to be in charge of an open mic. All right. I like being part of it, and I like being in charge of it every once in a while, but I don't want to be the open mic guy. I don't want to make a clubhouse for degenerates, and if I do, you're going to help me run it. I'm not going to run it for you. You're not going to come and drink. I'm going to drink, and you're going to run it, But I would say the last, 6 months or so, I really wanted to try and go to other places because I had been to Whiskey Mile almost every week. And I started it with Jordan, and me and Jordan were like co-hosts, but then he was gone a lot. He ended up having to work a lot, or he had some personal issues. And I was just like, man, I'm getting tired of just hosting. And so I started to find other people to host. But I'll be honest with you guys, it was getting tough to continue that thing without being fully there 100% of the time. And then it just so happened that there was a dispute between the Whiskey Mile owner and the building owner, and he ended up closing down and leaving Washington. So I'd say within like 1 month, the Shanghai room and the Whiskey Mile closed. But in the wake of that, there's a new mic called The Hidden Door on Aurora on Fridays. So, they still haven't been able to replace the Shanghai room's full weekend of open mics, but they have your Friday covered. Still haven't been there. I don't like doing comedy on Fridays. I want to be home. October October was the Trip Sitters show, the Mushroom Comedy Show. Me and Rob had been promoting that for a few months. We got all the comics. We had the flyers. It didn't go 100% as planned. My lights weren't great. The sets weren't completely planned out. The mushrooms didn't work as crazy as we thought they were going to work. Johnny Love was insane, but ultimately everybody had a great time. We sold tickets. The venue said we can come back and do it again. And that was the last time I was on stage. So we're in the middle of December now, really close to Christmas. And the last time that I performed was October 8th. So, how do I feel? I feel okay. When I started comedy, I always just felt like, man, I just felt like every time I didn't go out, I was missing something. I was falling farther and farther down the ladder. But now I realize it doesn't matter. Like, if you continue to stick with it, you're gonna get good. I think comedy, like, there's part of it that is natural. Obviously, like I said, that guy Tyreek Woods earlier. But there is something, there's like 5% that is natural, but the rest of it is something that I think you can develop. If you can learn the nuances of conversation and blah, 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 I think you can work on it. But what you cannot learn is personality. You know, you can't learn how to lead a conversation. You can't learn how to how to be a leader, you know? I see some people out there, but if you look at the people that are the most successful in anything, whether it's comedy, music, actors, actresses, politicians, they're big personalities. They're personalities to where if you say their name, you can instantly think of something about them. Like if you say Trump, asshole, you know, automatically. If you say Kanye, asshole, you know, if you say, I don't know, Bernie Sanders, he's like honest. I don't know, you know, like naive. That's another good one. I'm not trying to look, not trying to be like all liberal here. We're going to get both sides. So yeah, my October, I saw Luke Severide, over in Arlington. Great time. I went to, their Just Jokes variety show over in West Seattle. And then in November, I went to a couple of the shows here in Everett that JR's putting on. But other than that, man, I haven't really been doing comedy. I got to do the podcast in Nar and Van. That was fun. I saw Zootopia 2. And yeah, this month, it's been rough, you know. It's been rough, just chilling. Christmas, all that kind of stuff, the holidays. I've been watching a lot of movies this year. I actually made a list, if you guys are excited. I am. I made a list. It is my top 10 movies of this year. And I'll be honest, I have a few movies that didn't come out this year, but these are all movies I saw this year. I've seen more movies this year than I think in the past 5 years combined. I got this app a little over a year ago called Letterboxd. And it's kind of like a social media app for movie fans. And you can read reviews, you can leave your own reviews, you can create lists of movies. You could add movies to a list that maybe you want to watch later. And then you could see other people's recommended lists. Like, hey, if you want to watch like dark movies about vampires that are hot chicks, here's your list. You know, if you want to see all of the movies that Tarantino ripped off, here's the list, you know? And so thanks to Letterboxd, I've been watching a lot of movies. I've been recording the ones that I watch and ranking them. And this is going to be my 2025 top 10 movies. And I'm not going to go into way too many details on them because I don't remember a lot of them. But starting out at number 10 is Heretic from 2024. I saw it this year. I don't know if it was released this year, but it's a cool A24 type horror movie starring Hugh Grant. It's about these two girls. They're like missionaries that get invited into a home and have a philosophical conversation with Hugh Grant,
who has some sinister things going on behind the scenes. And that's all I'll get to. It's really cool. The acting is top notch. And I've loved Hugh Grant since back in the day, man. 9 months. Playboy. Remember that? 9 months with Jeff Goldblum, Tom Arnold, Julianne Moore. Heretic. My number 9 is a Minecraft movie. Chicken Jockey. Yeah, that's right. Minecraft movie. We saw this in May. It was awesome. I had only even started getting deep into the Minecraft lore this year. It's been around forever. I've seen like the swords and stuff in the toy aisle at Target, but like a week, maybe a few days before we went to see the movie, I downloaded the game. I started playing the game, and I was obsessed. And then we saw the movie. The movie was fun. Say what you want about the acting and the story, but if you were a little boy who played Minecraft, it was amazing. Visuals, top notch. It would have been a great 3D movie, to be honest, but it was cool, man. It's Minecraft, but it's just Jack Black and Jason Momoa just being goofballs, having fun, one-liners. I can't wait for the second one. My number 8 is a movie from 2024 called It's What's Inside. It's one of the worst titles that I've ever heard for a movie. I've ever read for a movie. But this is on Netflix. I believe it's a Netflix original. And it is a movie about swapping brains, like Freaky Friday. Has to do with like a group of friends who get together at a mansion. Friends that used to all hang out together in high school. They reunite. It's kind of like the Big Chill, except one of their friends has an invention that causes them to switch bodies. And a lot of things happen, and relationships get tempted. And that's all I'll say about that. Number 7, The Substance. Also 2024, but dude, holy cow. The Substance could be, could be a horror classic, to be honest with you. I mean, when I first read about it, I was like, okay, so it's about a woman who takes a drug that makes her younger. Sounds a lot like Death Becomes Her. Nah, it's not even like that. This is like, it's this weird like style that's like 80s retro, but it also takes place in modern times. But it has definitely an 80s feel to it. The gore is very graphic, and the concept is very cool, and the makeup effects and how Demi Moore, how the one version of herself continues to get more and more grotesque. I mean, dude, what a movie. I mean, this movie also reminded me a little bit of the Smile movies, which I saw for the first time this year. I did not put them on my list, but The Substance and Smile too, very similar vibes. And I cannot recommend this movie enough. Insane. My number, was it 6? Talk to Me. This actually came out a few years ago. And the reason I put it on the list is because I saw this director's other movie that just came out. But I went back and watched Talk to Me. And this movie is really cool, man. I mean, it's about a teenagers who do a party game. Not much different than, It's What's Inside. It's about like teenagers, college kids that do a party game where they bring out this like weird hand prop. And whenever somebody holds the prop, they get connected to like the dead and spirits. And it is, I don't really like possession films and stuff like that, but this one, great take on it. And I love the way it goes at the end, and how the main character is not, doesn't have she's not the hero, it doesn't have a great ending. And that's what I really liked about it. But the reason I watched that is because their other movie, my number 5, Bring Her Back. And this movie was cool and brutal, kind of a mysterious story. I like where it went at the end, but it was missing some pieces. It wasn't. I don't think it was as good as Talk to Me. There's a little boy that also like chews on his arm or something like that, and then at the end he's totally normal. I mean, look, if you want me to suspend my belief, I cannot believe that kid would not have trauma from like ripping his own arm off. So yeah, whatever. Number 4, Naked Gun, dude. So I saw the Naked Gun the other night, and I will be honest, I started falling asleep a little bit, but I mean, this is like joke after joke after joke. It reminds me of the old Naked Guns when I was a kid, especially 33 and a Third. That was the one I watched the most. In fact, I remember this one scene where they have like a security thing. This guy's like trying to carjack a woman, and then this like metal arm comes out and like grabs his crotch. And it's just the jokes in The Naked Gun are so ridiculous. And Liam Neeson, man, he plays it perfectly. I mean, it's probably the funniest movie I've seen in a long time. Number 3, Y2K. So these last 3 are also, they all say 2024, but I think they're 2025 too. So Y2K, I don't remember much of this one other than crazy robots and Fred Durst. And so good mix of like comedy and horror. Reminded me a little bit of like the At World's End, the Simon Pegg movie. At World's End, a little bit like that. But really fun. Nice mix of comedy, like I said, comedy and horror. Number 2, Weapons. Weapons was cool, man. Like the twist at the end, a lot of people did not like the end, and I thought it was great. I don't want to give it away. It's just in Weapons, a bunch of kids disappear, except for one, and everyone wants to know what happened to them. And when they finally do find the kids, they're being controlled. Number 1, my number 1 movie of the year. And I don't, like, these are not in order of, like, what I think is best. These are just the first 10 that I can think of. And the last one was Alien Romulus. Alien Romulus. My friend Ian did not like this movie, but I did like it. And the reason I liked it is because it's probably the best Alien movie since the original. Controversial. I don't really like Aliens as much as other people do. It's so 80s. It's so cheesy. The first one, the original Alien, it's just like, it's moody. It's quiet. It's dreadful. That's why Alien Isolation, the video game, was so popular, because it's like, it's you versus them, and you're just hiding. You're always hiding. And so this was like a throwback, somebody called it like the Alien greatest hits, which is a good description of it. Like the story itself, it's whatever, but it had everything that you wanted to see, with the face huggers and chest getting ripped and just one alien terrorizing a group of people, not a bunch of them. So I love that. Now, I do have some other movies I saw this year that I was disappointed with. Happy Gilmore 2. I mean, I wasn't expecting much. And I did say on a previous episode, there's a scene in the middle where it is actually pretty funny, but these sequels are just bad. Nosferatu, Longlegs, Death of a Unicorn. All 3 of these movies I was looking forward to, and each one of them disappointed me in one way or another. Just didn't live up to the hype. Jurassic World Rebirth also. Didn't expect much from it. I mean, Jurassic World Dominion, I think, is what it's called. Could be the worst. One of the worst. Probably the worst of the franchise. But this one, not much better. All right? I don't know why they just can't make another great Jurassic Park movie. You got to make, like, adventure. You got to slow it down. It's not an action movie. It's It's an adventure movie. So yeah, that was my top 10. So yeah, I don't know, man. How long have I been doing this? So yeah, I don't know, man. That's pretty much everything that I've been up to this year. My garage, I gotta fix my garage. So here's what happened, right? I used to fix garage doors, and I have a double car garage door in my house. This house is only from 2020, but the spring broke. Now, not to get too technical, but the spring system that I have on this door is kind of a proprietary it's kind of a proprietary system that's for this model. And once it breaks, you got to replace the whole thing. It's like, so I took the whole thing down. I ordered everything online. I got all the pieces. There's one piece I couldn't get. It was the 17-foot metal tube. Nobody would sell it to me because I wasn't a garage door company. I finally found a place in Everett, but I wasn't sure if they had what I needed. So I took one of my garage door brackets. I went down there. I spent about 20 minutes looking at all the metal, trying them out. I think I found what I needed, 130 something bucks, but how am I going to get it from Everett to Granite Falls? Well, paid for it, called one of my old garage door buddies, had the perfect truck, found a good time, transported it over here, got all the pieces, got my springs, got my brackets, installed everything perfectly. I mean, I hadn't done it in about a year and a half, and everything is perfect. And then I released the vice grips, and then my door just starts shooting up like a rocket. A double car garage door just starts shooting up. Now, you know what that means, guys? That means the springs that I had were way too strong, way too powerful for this door. I don't know what happened. You know, typically I weigh the door, I do all the calculations, and I know exactly what kind of springs I need. I didn't get the right weight, so in turn I got the wrong springs. And I had to take everything down, everything that I just put up. So now I have new springs, ready to put them up. Hopefully, cross your fingers, this is going to work out well for me. And what you see behind you, this whole Comedy Simp studio, we're going to change it up. You know, this was the trial run. There's things I like about it, and there's things that I don't. I need more space. Want to get multiple guests in here. Make it more appealing. You know, make it fun. We're going to get a futon. We're going to get the coffee table, and we're going to have a good time. And I'm excited. This is 2025 was a weird year for me. It didn't end up from the very beginning. It didn't end up the way I thought it was going to be. And I've been kind of struggling all year long, emotionally, mentally, financially. But I really think that it was for a reason. I think that there's just things that we need to go through as people to get stronger. Otherwise, we just fall off. And this is just one of those things. And I'm really looking forward to this next year. You know, I have a lot of ideas. I've been writing a lot of comedy. And, you know, as long as the personal life doesn't get too out of control, I'm going to be back and seeing everybody out there. And to everybody out there, thanks for everything, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys soon.
Rising up in the comedy scene, he's a force to be reckoned. Comedy Simp.